Alarm bells shattered the night and while everyone else fled. Captain Emily Blaze Carter was the very first to kick down the door. It was well past midnight in a town gripped by terror, where families huddled in crumbling courtyards and the distant staccato of gunfire echoed off shattered walls. The moment she breached the water treatment plant compound, her blonde hair pulled back in a tactical bun, and her green eyes aflame with purpose, the world seemed to slow. Every heartbeat, every whispered prayer, every trembling child's face became crystal clear to her. But Emily's journey to this decisive moment began years earlier in suburban Maryland, where as a young girl she watched her father, a retired Army Ranger, meticulously polish his battle-scarred boots. She studied the worn leather's creases, as though they were maps of courage, and practiced first aid drills on her dolls with the same reverent precision he demonstrated in his living room training sessions. When 9/11s rocked her world, she refused to remain on the sidelines. At West Point, she distinguished herself both in the lecture hall earning top grades in anatomy and trauma care, and on the cross-country course, where discipline and endurance melded into her signature calm under pressure. Late into the night, she joined campus EMP teams, masterfully stabilizing fellow cadets in simulated mass casualty exercises, her voice unwavering as she issued orders to panicked actors and guided them to safety. Upon graduation, drawn by a fierce sense of duty, she volunteered for special operations. At Fort Benning's basic combat training, she endured dawn to dusk marches under blistering sun and bone-numbing cold, her mind steeled by visualization techniques she had first used to memorize surgical protocols. She conquered the brutal obstacle courses not by brute force, but by analyzing each movement's mechanics, propelling herself forward with economical grace. Next, the assessment and selection pipeline tested her mental resilience, submerged for hours in frigid streams, navigating unmarked terrain by starlight, and completing endless land navigation exercises while sleep-deprived. When peers succumbed to exhaustion or self-doubt, Emily inhaled deeply, recalled her father's mantra, "True strength is choosing when not to fight, even when you must," and pressed on. Graduating among the select few, she then mastered advanced communications, close quarters combat, foreign weapon systems, and survival evasion resistance tactics in dense jungles so unforgiving that many candidates quit in despair. All the while, she carried dog tags around her neck, a private link to her family's legacy of service. Her first deployment to Central Asia crystallized her dual identity as soldier and medic. At a forward operating base perched amid rugged mountains, she transformed a canvas wall tent into a makeshift aid station and treated blast injuries, frostbite, and shrapnel wounds with an almost surgical precision her field expedient. Tourniquets and hemostatic dressings rooted in the same principles. She would later teach civilian trauma teams. When a mortar round crashed nearby, she raced toward the blast site, radioing for evac while cradling the injured like a mother shielded from oncoming chaos. Medic down, she reported over the comms, her voice the anchor in a sea of panic. Within minutes, the patient was bound onto a stretcher and whisked away, stabilizing his vitals and sparing him from irreversible blood loss. In village clinics, she trained local medics in combat casualty care, patiently teaching them tight seal dressings and pressure point compression techniques. And in return, they shared traditional remedies and spiritual rituals, lessons in cultural empathy that deepened Emily's understanding of healing beyond anatomy. Yet the psychological toll of war was relentless. Nights were haunted by dreams of faces she could not save, and the weight of moral decisions: who to evacuate first, which route to risk, pressed on her soul. After 8 years of deployments, medals, and missions, Emily felt an irrevocable pull to apply her battlefield skills to civilian medicine. With a heavy heart but unwavering vision, She left active duty and embarked on the arduous path to medical school. At 29, the lecture halls and anatomy labs presented an unfamiliar battleground. She pored over tomes of physiology late into the night, her fingers tracing diagrams of the human heart as once they had mapped blast impact patterns. She balanced MCAT preparation with therapy sessions to process wartime memories, refusing to let past traumas cloud her future. When acceptance letters arrived from top emergency medicine programs, she chose the one where her passion for trauma care and community outreach could flourish. In the hospital's emergency department, Emily's leadership emerged immediately. On a frigid December night, a multi-vehicle collision flooded there with critically injured victims. Emily vaulted into action, establishing rapid triage lanes, delegating tasks to nurses and residents with commanding clarity, and personally intubating a teenager whose airway was collapsing. Attending physicians watched in awe as she marshaled resources with the discipline of a platoon leader, yet infused every command with empathy, her calm reassurance turning chaos into coordinated care. She introduced after-action debriefings for traumatic cases, a practice she'd learned during Special Forces training, fostering resilience and reducing burnout among her team. Her research on adapting battlefield tourniquets for civilian pre-hospital use led to collaborations with local EMS, slashing hemorrhage-related deaths by 30% across the county. As she climbed the ranks to chief resident in trauma surgery, Emily spearheaded community preparedness fairs, teaching civilians basic hemorrhage control and CPR, and launched a nonprofit offering scholarships and mental health support for veterans. Entering healthcare, she co-authored guidelines integrating military-grade hemostatic agents into ambulance protocols and organized mass casualty drills that united hospitals, fire departments, and law enforcement in seamless disaster response. Behind the scenes, she mentored medical students and junior doctors, reminding them that every patient is more than a diagnosis, their lives entrusted to our skills and our hearts. All these achievements culminated on that fateful midnight rescue. Intelligence had confirmed militants holding hostages in the water treatment plant, a desperate situation, with innocent lives at stake. While her unit debated entry plans, Emily knew hesitation would cost lives. She volunteered to lead the breach team, her radio comm, Alpha 1 to base. Door breach in 3, 2, 1. With a thunderous blast, the heavy metal door gave way to screams and gunfire. Emily dashed forward, neutralized the first assailant with a single precise shot, and then sprinted through rubble-strewn corridors to reach a terrified mother clutching her child. Scooping them both into her arms, she hustled them to cover as bullets pinged off concrete. Hearing a medic's groan behind her, she reversed course under fire, hoisted the injured comrade over her shoulder, and carried him to the exit, her breathing steady as she recited vital signs into her comms. Within 7 heart-pounding minutes, every hostage was safe, every militant subdued, and Emily's team emerged triumphant not because of overwhelming force, but because of her fearless leadership and unwavering compassion. Back at base camp, the adrenaline's edge softened into quiet reflection. Emily knelt beside wounded survivors, offering water and whispered encouragement. She removed her helmet, letting her hair fall in loose strands around her face, and allowed herself a moment of vulnerability, eyes glistening, yet resolute. When reporters later called her a hero, she deflected the praise. "I did what any parent, sibling, or neighbor would have done." Courage isn't an award, it's what happens when you refuse to abandon someone in need. Today, Dr. Emily Carter's legend spans continents and careers: soldier, medic, surgeon, mentor. In the corridors of Riverside General Hospital, patients still speak her name with reverence. In small clinics halfway around the world, practitioners trace protocols she helped pioneer. Her legacy is etched not in statues, but in the countless lives mended, the enduring hope she instills, and the quiet reminder that true strength, whether on battlefield or beside a hospital bed, lies in the decision to act with both precision and compassion. If Captain Emily Blaze Carter's journey moved you, subscribe to Everyday Triumphs for more real-life hero stories. Tap the bell to witness courage in action, and share in the comments below. What would you risk to save a stranger?